Hey everybody, this is Clayton, Olson, and Jack Butler, and in today's video we're going to be talking about 5 reasons you keep picking emotionally unavailable men. And here's Jack Butler to start with the first reason.
Yeah. So the first reason is that you don't want to be vulnerable. Oftentimes you don't want to be vulnerable because it's hurt you in the past, right? So there are good reasons, it seems, not to be vulnerable. But I'll just cut right to the chase. If you want an emotionally fulfilling relationship, you can't have that without emotional vulnerability.
Yeah.
So this is really important. You may find that you don't want to depend on a man, that has been painful in the past.
Emotionally, when you say depend on a man, it's like
Yes.
depend on him for emotional support.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. And to get your world and to be in your emotional world with you. If you don't depend on a man, there's a way that he can't fully be your man. There's a way that the relationship isn't actually. There's a level of commitment and authenticity and vulnerability that isn't there, and those things are all really key to actually finding fulfillment.
Absolutely. And the impact of not allowing yourself to depend on a man is that the man actually doesn't feel trusted by you.
Yes.
And when a man doesn't feel trusted, that tickles one of the deepest kind of insecurities that the masculine essence, the masculine energy has when relating to a woman, is not feeling trusted.
Absolutely.
And look, if you're one of the women that are, you can relate to this. Look, a lot of times vulnerability gets thrown out with being needy or desperate. And to reveal any type of emotional experience or to be vulnerable with a guy, you might risk being needy or desperate. And they're very different things.
Yeah, that's a good distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're down on neediness in our culture. And there's actually a kind of authentic, hey, this is what I need right now, but I'm not attached to you having to give it to me, but I'm fully expressing. That is really important. So the second reason that women keep attracting emotionally unavailable men is that their dad was emotionally unavailable. So the patterns that got set up in early childhood, or what we might even call object relations, is that dad's not really available. Dad doesn't really make me feel like a princess. Dad doesn't come to me when I'm sad or sorrowful or I need support. So I kind of get used to a certain sort of self-soothing, or to maybe soothing or regulating with my girlfriends or with my mother, but I'm not used to receiving that from the masculine. And so when I'm going out in the world, even if the person looks very different, like does a completely different career than dad, the actual underlying archetype is kind of similar, because we're kind of playing roles. He's unavailable, I'm sort of available, but don't have to be fully available because he's unavailable. And that's what's got set up in childhood.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so the third reason that women pick emotionally unavailable men is because they secretly feel like they don't deserve it. When I say they don't deserve it, what I mean is that they don't feel like they actually deserve the intimacy that a completely connected relationship would give them. Maybe they don't feel like they deserve the attention. They don't feel like they need or deserve the presence of their man. And what ends up happening is they pick partners that are actually that kind of confirm the level of self-esteem they have about themselves, because it's predictable, it's safe, even though it is maybe not thriving. It allows them to know where they stand within that role play.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a thermostat of what level of connection or support or emotional literacy I deserve, and I'm kind of hitting up against that, and I don't sense how I can get more.
And if they were to get more, it would actually be more uncomfortable and painful.
Because I'm going to reorient a whole set of beliefs and identity.
Absolutely.
So in hot at number 4, we have women's desire to be with a smart guy and a belief that a smart guy won't be emotionally available. And I want to say that this is a partial truth, right? It is true that there are a lot of smart men, geeky men, powerful men who are not emotionally available. And I don't think that women in our generation or at this time of evolution have to actually make that choice. That there are a lot of smart men, intelligent men, powerful men who are also emotionally available
And emotionally intelligent.
and emotionally intelligent and emotionally literate and want to have a deep and fulfilling emotional connection with their partner.
Yeah.
So whilst it's true that you could find evidence in the world that these things not being together, I don't think that there's a compromise that has to be made there, that it's important to value both and to encourage that side of man. I mean, if you are with an intelligent man who maybe sometimes needs a bit of encouragement to be in his emotions, what a gift that you can give him from the feminine to actually bring him into those spaces, to those vulnerable spaces, to those feeling spaces.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. And the fifth and final reason that women choose emotionally unavailable partners actually is that fourth reason is a nice dovetail into this one. And it may even illuminate kind of the underlying dynamic of what's actually happening here. And it might be that in some cases, a woman is choosing safety and security over love and connection.
Yes.
And oftentimes if you're picking a partner that's extremely smart, that is well off, that is building an empire or really connected with their purpose and is not emotionally unavailable, there's a certain sense of security that can come with that.
Totally.
And the reason this is important to bring up is because as we become aware of the real reason why we might be getting into a relationship, we can then have the power to choose differently moving forward and to examine, why is it that we're actually getting into a relationship? Is it that I'm wanting love, or is it really that I'm being driven by this more like instinctual, perhaps like anxiety around finding security, finding comfort? And that could play into a whole host of beliefs that a woman might have about herself being independent in the world, being able to provide her own security.
Yes.
And just examining this is extremely powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that this is particularly for women who are wanting to be conscious or in a more kind of conscious relationship. I've seen that the sort of security part of their brain can kind of get hijacked towards, guy with lots of money, I'm going to feel safe and secure, even if I'm sacrificing a level of emotional connection that would actually be more fulfilling to me.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And so if you've liked this video and you want more of this content, Jack and I have something very special coming up.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about it?
I do, because we've been working on this for a while, right?
We have, yeah.
This is a year in the making.
Yep.
We are delivering a webinar, and there's various times you can click the link below and find a time that works for you. And the webinar is aimed at successful single women, either single, not in a relationship, or single, not in a relationship that feels like it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And really where you've got a level of fulfillment in your life, but this piece, this relationship piece, isn't fully working for you, or you're now ready to put a different level of attention and inner work into it.
Yep. The point of the webinar is to produce a paradigm shift within an hour to help you see yourself and see the way that you're orienting towards men and relationship in a whole new light, to begin to eliminate the struggle. Many women that I talk to, they think that a lot of the problems they have with getting into a relationship is there's not enough men. All the good ones are taken. I just don't have time for it. And see, when you start to address the things that we're going to cover on this webinar, you realize that all of those are actually just excuses, right? They're all just kind of these external blocks, but they're not really the problem. What is really the problem, what's really blocking you, is actually something that you have control over. And when you start to look at it in the way that Jack and I invite you to, things begin to shift.
Yeah.
So
it'll be good.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm excited about it. And if you are, again, interested in joining this webinar, click on the link below, select a time that works for you, and we will see you on the other side.